public-private partnership model for importing ICT skills to the youths of Kerala and to improve their employability opportunities in the industry. The company is supported by the government of Kerala and the IT industry. So let's move on to our technical sessions. Today we are having 3 training sessions. The session 1 will be handled by Mr. RIJI Endas, the Head Knowledge Officer of ICT Academy of Kerala, and session 2 and session 3 will be handled by Dr. D. Srikanth, Senior Knowledge Officer, ICT Academy of Kerala. And before we start, I would also request the participants to mute their microphones and shut the cameras down so that we have no interferences in the meeting. So now I would like to welcome you all to the first training session of our ATAL supported faculty development program organized by the Department of Computer Applications, MES College, Marampalli. Let me now invite Ms. Sharina VB, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Applications, to welcome our resource person. Please, ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Salwa. Respected resource person, Mr. RIJI Endas, other dignitaries, and dear participants. Good morning, one and all. This is the first session of the ATAL-FDP program, Effective Course Delivery through Moodle, on the topic Digital Learning. I feel privileged to have given the opportunity to address the resource person, Mr. RIJI Endas, ICT Academy of Kerala. RIJI Endas is the Head Knowledge Office with ICT Academy of Kerala. He began his career as a lecturer and completed 12 years in academia and research before stepping into skills training. He secured his master's in wireless networks and applications from Amrita University, and his MTech thesis work was later turned out as a product developed by Amrita University to provide internet connectivity to fishermen at sea. He was associated with institutions like NIT Calicut, Sri Buddha College of Engineering, Alappuzha, and CDAC Trivandrum. On behalf of Department of Computer Applications, MES College, Marampalli, and all the participants present, I extend a warm welcome to Mr. RIJI Endas to enlighten audience on the topic digital learning as we begin with the session. Welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful introduction. Good morning to everyone. So let me check, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are. You may continue.
All right, thank you. So can you give me a slide share option? The admin who is handling Zoom, please provide me the host option or co-host option. All right, so good morning to everyone. It's wonderful to hear from the people who talked before, starting from Dr. Murugan to Dr. Mansoor to Dr. Sakriya. Everyone was emphasizing one thing, that is the importance of digital learning. So in different dimensions, they mentioned about different aspects, but everything converged to one thing. You should, all the faculty members should to develop skills to present themselves in a better way. So that's how they can impress the students, and that's how the education system should go out. So let me share the slides. It's not going to be a slide presentation or something like that. The session that we will be handling from today onwards, it's mainly a hands-on session. We have some ideas to be presented, and then most importantly, we will be connecting you, and we will be asking you to practice along with us. So you can expect a fully hands-on session from today afternoon itself. Okay, thank you. I got the slide share option, so let me share my slide. Is the slide visible? Anyone please confirm?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, first of all, I'm very glad to see participants from all the almost 18 states in India, starting from Jammu Kashmir till Tamil Nadu. We can have participation from north to south. It's a good teamwork done by the organizers. Special thanks to Murugan sir and his team. Let me come to the context that this title given to me is digital learning. So all of you are familiar with digital learning. So I should talk to or share you something unique about this particular term, digital learning. But in order to connect to the digital learning term, so let me ask you something. And it's very glad to see responses through the chat, or if you unmute and speak, that's also nice. So what you see here, so you all of you can easily understand that these two devices are very common or familiar to all of you. So in one word, can you differentiate or connect these two objects I am showing? Anyone? I could have access to your chat as well. So if you type, that's also fine. Our plan is to discuss about tools, techniques that make the online sessions more interactive, effective, and engaging. So, all right. So nice to see some response. All right. Subhida ma'am rightly said it is technology enhancement, definitely. Now, wire to wireless. So actually, that's another way of representing words. One, we can communicate through voice, and another is communicate through image. All right. So different perspectives coming. So let me re-emphasize the first point: technology enhancement. All right, so I'm coming to that, ma'am. So you said it right. So when you compare these two are two different devices we will be using. Also, the second one, and tomorrow we are anxiously waiting to see the iPhone 13 to be launched. And on the other side, the first generation of telephone that we used late in 1780s or so. So it's actually a gap in a gap of 150 years. You could see the technology is advanced quite dramatically. So I'm pointing to another similar example, but used in a different scenario. It's used for transportation. Here also you can see two different things. That is transportation that we used 150 years before, and the facility that we have with the BMW Series 5, quite different. So all features that you see inside this car, anything. Right now we are talking about self-driving cars. So there is technological advancements. The two examples, one is on communication. I mentioned you with the help of two devices that we use for communication. And secondly, two images that represents the transportation 150 years back and what we have currently. Now let me come to the third one. So this is also 150 years gap. When you look at the classrooms of olden days, close to 150 years back, and I'm not telling that this is a current classroom. I can't say that this is a current classroom. Our current classrooms are not like this. So it is a classrooms of, I can say that it is in 2020, before the pandemic. When you look at the structure of the classroom and the infrastructure, in fact, both that we can't see that huge differences that we've seen in the previous two instances. In the case of transportation or in the case of communication, we see their dramatic improvement with the help of technology. But on the other side, in education scenario, we don't see that dramatic change. Never happened. But the most important thing is that anyone who actually bringing those other changes, like any changes in any different areas, in any different sectors, are actually people who actually came from this education through the education system. But our education system is maybe reluctant or not sometimes not ready to accept these changes. But the last 1 year, what we see, our classrooms is not like the older classrooms that we have seen, like just the physical infrastructure or the four walls. We call it as the four walls inside the classroom. Not nothing like that. Right now, just like we are interacting, the digital presence is not like, is something similar to this. The platform may be different, but the kind of interactions, the kind of activities that happen inside remains the same. So now the modern classrooms are looking sometimes similar to this, or even sometimes better than this. So let me come to one thing. What we experienced in the last 1.5 years or so is a huge transformation. The transformation from physical classroom to virtual classroom. So what you experienced right now is that transformation, and you all are change agents. I should say that all the teachers who work in different state or different departments, even though you are from a mathematics department, or you are from a language department, or from a computer science related department, you all are equipped right now to handle online sessions or virtual sessions. So that you are part of that transformation, and you are actually bringing new changes and new ideas into this digital learning. And let me, I think it's a better time to define what is digital learning. I hope that all of you have your own versions of digital learning. Can I get some versions from your end before telling not my version? I'm going to tell a version from a very popular, maybe a teacher in the sense a digital teacher. So before that, I think it's time to hear from you. So can you tell some of the beautiful definitions of digital learning from your perspective? So let me look at the chat. I know that it needs some time to type some definition. So in the meantime, so let me tell you something about the next, what happens, what will happen in the next half an hour or so. It's going to be a storytelling thing. Like all of you had your own stories. Like you were handling sessions in a physical mode. Right now, you are doing a good job in a virtual scenario. Like all of you, ICT Academy of Kerala, we are also having all the sessions in a physical mode. But fortunately or unfortunately, we also have to switch the mode from physical training to virtual training. So during the transition period, and even we come across a number of models. You all are familiar with different models. You heard about blended learning and flipped classroom approach. All these are you are familiar with. We also researched about some of these, and we also tried some of these models. And finally, we evolved a new model. And we are not claiming that that's a very outstanding model, but we feel that that's a very engaging model. So as part of this digital learning, and we would like to share our experience with that model. So that model is known as Pearl model. So next half an hour, I will be talking about our experiences and experiments with that Pearl model. All right, so we got a few responses. Future is robot-based learning, and maybe, okay, so that's a good. Oh, we got some. In Anchu ma'am, you mentioned one comment like in a raw form while using telephone. Okay, that was the previous one. Okay, digital learning includes different media such as images. Oh, perfectly. So it actually covers all the multimedia. That's the term. Multimedia represents multiple media. So it uses maybe in a physical classroom, we may not be able to experiment or include all the different media in 1 hour of a session. But what a digital or a virtual training session provides you is the opportunity to use all the different media. That's a good thing. Digital learning actually includes that. Okay, thank you for those responses. So let me come to a very beautifully written definition of digital learning, and this is from LinkedIn Learning. So I think you all are familiar with LinkedIn Learning, previously known as Linda Learning, an online learning platform. They are actually purchased by the popular LinkedIn, and right now it is known as LinkedIn Learning. And in their perspective, a digital learning is actually, it is nothing but a choice. Okay, if you engage people or learners through digital learning, you're giving them a choice. The choice of what to study, a choice of how to study, a choice when to study, where to study, and then the pace you can also decide. So this is actually in their definition, they have beautifully written digital learning as an opportunity to choose yourself what to learn, how to learn, when to learn, where to learn, and the pace in which you learn. So in that context, so let me tell you a few things. So that actually, this is actually one of the philosophy that we have experimented in the last 1.5 years in our skill training arena. So next to 1 minute, let me tell something about the activities that we do, and that definitely connect the model that we are experimenting. ICT Academy is a training organization in Kerala. So we actually connect and train faculty members and students. That is one of our verticals. We are connected with around 70 institutions in Kerala, and we give technological training, especially on IR 4.0 skills to faculty as well as students. That is one of our verticals. And then secondly, we connected with graduated students who passed out of arts and science colleges or engineering colleges, and we train those students as well. Then on the other side, we have training programs especially designed for government employees in their capacity building. It can be starting from operating system usage like Ubuntu usage to the latest technological skills. And finally, the last vertical, we train corporates. So the corporate training is one of our verticals. So these are the people that are connected to ICT Academy. So when the pandemic hit in March 2020, we do have learners enrolled in almost all the training, all the verticals. We were training around 300 learners at that point of time. And suddenly, we are not in a position to go around and train them in a physical mode. That was our main way of training. Just like all the faculty members you do, we are also having a provision to do some kind of blended approach. When you look at our training approach, it was a blended approach, but majority of our training was face-to-face or physical training. I believe that all the university systems are connected to this, because most of the time we will be, even I believe that all of you are doing face-to-face training more than 75% before the pandemic. And it was a big challenge to come out of that that scenario. Like we designed our curriculum, we designed our training methodology. Everything was meant for physical training. And like the faculty goes to a specific location and learners come there and we do the training in a physical training. And that 25% that we had initially for e-learning, and that actually was to give some early connect before coming to the training program. For example, if you have a training program like a data science program, and we know that if anyone who is having interest in data science can come and learn a data science kind of a program, and they have some background in programming and some background in mathematics or statistics, is an essential thing. So we give some pre-learning materials on that, so that they, before they coming to the classroom, they have some understanding about those concepts. So such kind of inputs or materials are given in the form of reading materials through the learning management system. That was the kind of engagement that we used for the e-learning or the before coming to the classroom, the kind of materials that we share. And also after the training, we give some material, or during the training, we give some reading material. That was only the connection or the content that we had for that blended learning, the e-learning part. But after that, and when the pandemic hit, we have to move from that 25% online content to fully online, that is 100% online. That was the challenge. I think all of you have your own versions of stories, how you overcome and that situation from physical to virtual. So let me tell you about our experience, and also you can also share some of your best practices so that it becomes a learning for others as well. In the process of converting or transforming from physical classroom session to virtual classroom session, we actually experimented different models, like the blended mode or different blended models that we tried. And then we used a number of tools, because if you wanted to do some kind of engagement with the learners, they are in a remote location, we have to connect them. The only means that we can connect with them is through different tools. And then we experimented a number of different tools. I will, in the last segment, I will demonstrate some of the tools. And if you feel that some of these tools are helpful for you, starting from content recording or content creation, to content sharing, to assessments, and we use quite a number of different tools. And we actually experimented a number of tools. And then right now we feel that some of these tools are good. and we share those information with you. And some of these tools will be discussed in detail in our training session from today afternoon itself. And this model that we designed is known as a Pearl model. So the Pearl, actually, it's a beautiful abbreviation. Pearl is positive engagement and real-time learning. So we actually evolved to a new model, which is positive engagement and real-time model. So one of the thing that we realized when we converted our learning materials into virtual or in a virtual mode, the one thing that we realized that converting materials into virtual, from physical to virtual, it was difficult, but once you do that, it's a one-time kind of an activity. So if you convert the physical material into a virtual kind of material, then you can enhance, you look only at the enhancement. But the most challenging thing, I think all the faculty members here know that when you go to a classroom for a 1 hour session, the level of attention that the students give to your lecture, and the study says that it is maximum they can pay full attention for a maximum of 20 minutes. So when you look at the virtual thing, so in a virtual environment, and that attention span is less than 5 minutes. So which means that learners will get distracted quite easily. Most of the times we don't see them because of lack of internet connectivity. We are not in a position to ask the students to switch on the camera, so we don't know what happens on the other end. So then that's the most challenging thing. We can create beautiful content, and then we can deliver in a better way. If you have your own ways of delivering content, you can deliver in a better way. But the most challenging thing, you don't know what happens, how the students are accepting your content, or how they are attending the thing. So engaging the students in a positive way was the most challenging thing as far as we are concerned. I hope that all of you have that challenge with you. And then we realized that distraction is there. Definitely distraction is there. Even in a physical classroom, that distraction is there. But when it comes to virtual, as I mentioned before, the distraction span was very less. They get distracted quite easily and quite fast. Then as a team, we realized that if you see distraction as a component in an online session, why can't we use that distraction in a positive way? Okay, so distraction is always, at that time we believe that distraction is a negative thing, and then we started realizing that distraction can be used for some positive things. And then we realized that we can bring positive distraction. So one thing that we realized at that point of time was this: try to distract them positively. So how can you distract the students positively? So right now what I am doing is I'm talking to you through a PowerPoint presentation. So I'm sure that you will get distracted. So you may looking at your mobile phone and looking at the notification that comes, and likewise you get distracted. So the easy thing to do is you can switch to a different platform. So right now I'm talking to you through a PowerPoint presentation, and then I can ask you to type something on the chat. So that's a distraction. So they are listening to you. In the meantime, you are asking the students to type something. They get distracted, but you get some response. So that's a simple distraction. You can do it within the same tool. So if you are connected to the meeting through Zoom or Google Meet, the same tool permit you to create that distraction. And then you can bring in another tools. Okay, so like you can conduct a quiz. The quiz is another distraction. So think that you start the session. Think that you are maybe you will be experience the same tomorrow. When you go to the next class, you can conduct a quiz, a short quiz, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, covering the topic that you discussed previously. So you don't use the PowerPoint straight away. You start with a quiz, and then the students are participating in the quiz. Suddenly the distraction comes. You come and do a PowerPoint presentation, and then you switch it off and then come back with a demonstration, maybe a video presentation, or if you are a programming teacher, then you have a screen to share and some demonstrations has to be done. with that IDE that you use. And likewise, in a 1 hour period, you can bring in multiple distractions. So this model will tell you what are the different distractions you can bring in as a teacher, as a positive distraction. And that distraction will keep the students engaged in a better way. So that if their distraction or the engagement time is less than 5 minutes, and you can bring that to a better time. I'm not telling that entire 60 minutes you can keep everyone engaged, but you can have a better engaging time with the learners. So let me show the block diagram. This is a block diagram that I'm going to show. Okay, I hope that is visible to you. So in a training program, you take it as you in a university system, you start a new course in a new semester. So first of all, you need to introduce the course to the students. So the entry part, you don't look deep into the blocks. I will tell about the blocks in detail. So think only about the 3 different blocks. So all the courses you have an entry. Okay, maybe the introduction and you need to introduce the new course to the students, and then the active learning happens. That happens for a period of 3 to 4 months in a typical education system, in a semester wise system. And finally, there is an assessment. For all courses, you have an entry, then the engagement, active learning process happen, and finally there is a exit or the assessment thing to happen. And this model discusses about all the components of a typical course that has an entry, engaging, and finally an exit criteria. So let me talk in detail about the middle part, the blue part, and then come and explain about the entry as well as exit. So I will switch between the next slide and the current slide. Okay, so let me come back to the story where when we getting some disturbances. Can other participants please go on mute? All right, thank you. So when we were thinking about converting the physical content or the physical classroom session to a virtual classroom, the first thing that we think was this: what activities actually we do in a typical 1 hour classroom. So unless you don't have clarity about what you do inside a 1 hour classroom, you can't convert that into a virtual mode. So what are the so we just analyzed what are the different activities that happens inside a 1 hour session in a physical classroom. So normally in a physical classroom, we don't teach for the entire duration. Okay, all of you agree with me? Do we teach the entire duration in a typical classroom? How many of you? So I just wanted to get some input from your side. So let me share you. I'm going for a distraction. So this is a kind of distraction I'm trying to bring in right now. So look at the chat. You get a link. Just respond to this. The question that you get is this. Okay, are you able to get the link? Okay. This is what you want to give me a response. I'm asking you this question: how much time you think that in a typical classroom session? Okay, I'm getting. So okay, if you are able to respond in the link, I can demonstrate how it appears to me. All right. So I'm getting answers. In a typical 1 hour classroom session, the amount of time as a faculty you teach, it's not my answer, your views. Views of our faculty member from Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari. 40 minutes, 35 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes range, 45, 45, 20 to 25, 30, 45. All right, interesting responses. All right. Nearly 40. All right, 40. Most of you say that. And I don't get any answer saying that entire duration of the time you are teaching. Okay. You teach. Okay. If not teaching, what are the other activities you do? Can anyone give some responses through the chat? So I'm sure that nobody responded or nobody told that entire 60 minutes you are teaching. Maximum I got at time 50. So it's 10 minutes buffer is there for that particular faculty member, and the minimum time that you mentioned is 20 minutes. In that case, you have 40 minutes for other activities. So can you tell what are the other activities you do in a classroom apart from mere teaching? Okay, discuss some news. Interesting. Sujata ma'am, Sugandha ma'am say that Q&A, great, Priyanka ma'am. Asking questions or interacting with them, good, Ramesh sir. Discussions, good. So anything unique other than this? That's a nice thing to get feedback from. So if you have the habit of taking feedback after, it's not a written feedback. Sometimes you can ask the students how the session went, any suggestions. That's a good thing. Venkatas Shivakumar, so good sir. Share experiences, nice. Sandeep Goyal sir says that sharing experience. So right now, storytelling is one of the best way to teach, and you tell your stories or somebody else experience. Actually, that's a good way of teaching. Okay, summarizing definitely. Revising and feedback. Okay, I got enough input. Thank you so much for these responses. Revising, very great insights that you are bringing in. All right, so let me come back to the slide again. Okay, let me go to a full screen mode. All right. So in a classroom, typical 1 hour classroom, we also identified that we don't teach during the entire duration, 1 hour. What we do, we do the content delivery for a specified time. Maybe for in our case, it was around 20 to 25 minutes. We don't uh, teach or we don't train them more than 20-25 minutes. Then the rest of the time, what we do is, I think most of you mentioned about doubt clarification. If you teach a concept, if you teach them something, and then definitely there should be doubt from the students' end, and then they will be asking questions. And if you are having a practical associated with that, and or if you give a problem statement to them, definitely questions and queries coming from students. So the faculty member or the teaching assistants, those who come and support you, will be walking around and clarifying the doubt. So you have a segment for teaching, you have a segment for doubt clarification. Then the other activities are we give. So in order to think that you give one example and then all the students understood that particular example, in order to test their knowledge, you give some more problems. And if you know this, then try to do this. Additional problem statement, additional questions. So these are the other activities that happen. And finally, you may be giving them some assignments or other practice problems so that they can go back home, practice it and come back to the next class. So that by the end of that session, so end of all the 4 activities, you believe that that particular concept is beautifully conveyed to the student. So we also realized, or we actually found that these are the main components in our sessions as well. In a physical classroom, we all do these kind of activities. Then we realize if you want to replicate or if you want to convert these physical sessions into virtual session, you don't have to miss any of these. So here you can see that these are the 4 activities that we identified: content delivery, doubt clarification, then we have to give practice problems, and finally some case studies or assignment related to that topic. So if these are the beauty of a physical classroom, and if you lose any of these components, your virtual session won't be as attractive as your physical session. So the first challenge was to change or convert or transform these 4 segments into virtual form in an equally or even better way. So that was a challenge that we have taken. And then the cliche thing, physical, we cannot replace a physical session with a virtual session. That's for sure. There are some aspects, like all the faculty members understand that, and the eye contact that you have with your peer, the faculty, the students, is something that we miss in a virtual classroom. You cannot replicate it anywhere. So there are missing things in when you transform from physical to virtual. But on the other side, the virtual classroom or virtual sessions has got its own advantages. We also identified those advantages, and then we actually brought together all these aspects into our model. So let me come back to the model and then explain the different components. So with this background, with this information, we designed the new model, the active learning and skilling model, where the first thing, so the learning, the actual teaching that you do in a classroom session is for 20 to 25 minutes that I told. That content we recorded. So if you go in front of the students and teach them, that thing can be recorded. So we use some tools to record these material in advance and use a learning management system. Our learning management system is also a Moodle-based learning management system. So in the next 4 days that we will be discussing about in detail about that learning management system created out of Moodle. So our experiences, best practices with Moodle will be discussed in detail in the 14 sessions. So 12 sessions we are handling, and we will be discussing that in detail. And then once we give the content, so that is the first activity. The first activity is you have the content, record it, and give it to the student. So remember the definition I mentioned for digital learning. Give the content to the student, and they'll learn in their convenient time. So you are giving them the chance, giving them the option to learn it. If they are comfortable in the morning, learn in the morning. If they are comfortable in the afternoon, learn in the afternoon. If they are comfortable in the midnight, learn in your own convenient time. So our job was to load the content in the learning management system and make it accessible to the learners. And then we give some time for them. So we don't have all the activities coming in the same day. So we loaded the content and then ask the students to go through the content, and that activity will happen in the next 1 to 3 days. So we actually we have given at least 3 days. And what happened after that is we know that if we give the content and ask the students to learn, they have a lot of doubts. And in the recorded content, there is no interaction happening between the learner and the instructor. So it's only a one-dimensional thing. And then what we did after that, the second component. And in our model, we have the second component was the content delivery. We recorded and give through the learning management system. So the first tool was the learning management system. And then the second activity was the doubt clarification and the discussion. So how the discussion has to be converted from a physical to a virtual mode. So there we come up with this thing. We use a live Q&A session. It's just like the meet that we are doing, and we ask them to come for a live meeting. All the learners in a particular class, think that 60 students are in a class, all the 60 students and the instructors connect in a live session. And in the live session, they can ask all any doubt that they have, and then the doubt clarification happens. The teacher will do some kind of demonstration. This is the beauty of that flipped classroom approach. We give the content in advance so that students can go and practice in their own pace. Come in the live session, we will be discussing some real cases, and what they learn will get added. So we can give some more exercises or case studies, and that actually happen in a live mode through this learning management system, through these interactive platforms or virtual conference platforms. So that is a second component. So we have the recorded content given through the learning management system. Second, we have a interaction. That interaction can be weekly interactions or twice in a week interaction. So depending upon the nature of the training program, we used to have 2 interactions per week. We used to have 1 interaction per week. That doesn't matter. So we have a component called interaction, live interaction with the learners. And the next important thing, if you really want to skill your students so that once they come out of the course, they should be industry ready. So they can be ready to take up any challenges that the industry offers. There should be interaction happening between the learner and the industry. So we do have a provision. So think that you have content created for 100 hours, and we do have a mechanism to give around to 10 to 15% of expert session. So in a 100-hour session module, we do have an option to bring expert from respective technology or domain and interact with the student. So if a particular college, if MES college Marampalli wanted to do something similar to that, they do have access to alumni. So right now, you don't want them to come down to your college in a physical location and do the training. It's a matter of connecting to a virtual platform for an hour. It's very easy right these days. In our earlier model, physical model, we do have this provision to bring in industry experts and interact with the student, but actually it was difficult for different locations. So our training happened in different parts in Kerala. In some locations like Trivandrum, Cochin, we should able to bring expert quite often, but on other sides other places, in remote places, we never had the a facility to bring experts. But when everything went virtual, that was the advantage I mentioned for the virtual training. It has some drawback, but some advantages that the real physical classroom didn't have is this: you have the option to bring in industry experts. So interaction or a talk with expert actually enhances their knowledge. So we actually made that as a module in our Pearl framework. So in our Pearl framework, currently I touched 3 modules. The first one is the recorded content, second one is the live interaction with the learners, and third one is live interaction with the industry experts. Now coming back, what happens if you give a content to the student and then you conduct the live interaction after 3 days? These 3 days, the student, what happens? So, but I think that I am a learner. I open up the content, and the first thing mentioned in the content was to install something, maybe a simple tool to install. So I have an error. I have some problem in the installation process. So in this model, I had to wait till the 3rd day, till I meet the instructor to clarify that, which means that I can't do anything beyond that. So I think that installation is the first step. I have to wait. I'm not doing anything for the next 3 days. So in order to avoid that, we actually, I think all of you have this model with you, a peer collaboration mode. It's just like a WhatsApp kind of a group. You create a WhatsApp group with all the learners as well as the instructors. We know that WhatsApp is a very, very personal thing because we all have personal contacts, personal messages coming in WhatsApp. So it's difficult to differentiate between your personal messages or your professional or official messages. So we identified a different tool known as LARK, L-A-R-K. So LARK is also a free tool. The paid versions are also available, but LARK is provide a lot of features free of cost. We will introduce LARK at some point of time. Maybe at the end of this session, I will give you a demonstration of this tool. And if you are interested in the features of LARK, you can also use this as a tool. You don't have to pay anything. So right now, from our experience, we are actually currently we are connected around 3,000 learners are connected to this platform. And we are not paying any single penny to this particular organization. And this the activities that we do inside this collaborative tool is we create different groups. In your college, you have different classes. You have different group for the class. But one thing that we made very clear to the learners is that we use this as a peer learning platform. We know that the instructor will definitely meet once in a while through the live Q&A session. But if you have any doubt, if you have any problem to be addressed while installation, while doing a problem, you can post it in your group. But we give first priority to the peer students, and we wait if any peers inside the class can able to answer those questions. And if they are not able to or not in a position to answer that question, the instructor will step in and answer that. So most of the times we really, initially it was very difficult because the peers are very reluctant to answer because they also have some fear that if I say an answer, whether it is right or not. But right now, from our perspective, most of the times a question is posted in the LARK, the chances of a peer coming and answering that question is very high. I can proudly say that is more than 60% right now. So that particular thing is we can call it as a WhatsApp group. This is a LARK group that is a 24/7 mechanism. So think that your learning time is midnight, 12 o'clock midnight. If you have a doubt, if you post, we have seen that there are other people learning at the same time. They actually interact through this platform. And we don't have any specific time. If you learn in the morning, if you post a query, there may be somebody else learning parallelly and responding to this query. So currently we have this particular platform LARK as a 24/7 tool added to our Pearl model. So this is the 4th thing. Now the most important thing, the self-learning. Okay, so the first thing I mentioned is the self-paced learning, which is the recorded content. If you have a structured syllabus, then the content, all the content, just like you go to the classroom and deliver the content, we record just like that. It may be a screen sharing, it may be a people face sharing, anything. Any mode, we record the content and add it in our learning management system so that the student get a feeling that I have the content for module 1, unit 1 and module unit 2. Just like that, all the contents are structured inside the learning management system. Our course will actually teach you how to create such a course inside Moodle and how to add all those content. That actually is the primary objective of this training program. And the self-learning module is slightly different. In the self-learning module, actually what we did was, we know that we have enough content to share with the students, the content that they wanted to learn for a particular course, it can be recorded from our end and give. So in order to enhance their knowledge, we actually purchased LinkedIn Learning. This actually is a paid repository. You all know that what is LinkedIn Learning. And we have an agreement with LinkedIn Learning. For all our courses, we made this platform, LinkedIn Learning, available for the student. And what we do is, along with our content, so think that let me quote a particular subject, like if you are teaching programming to a particular group of students, and starting with the basic concept like the data types in programming and the loops in programming, control structures in programming, you record all the content and give. Along with that, you have some problems. You wanted to give some industry related problem that is available in a different platform. So LinkedIn actually has got around 30,000 courses in their library. And what our team does is they actually map some of these courses to the learning management system. I will demonstrate how it can be done, so that once they go through the basic content that the syllabus demands, then we bring in some of the content from this library that actually enhances that knowledge. They can go deep into particular areas that cannot be possible due to the time constraints or the syllabus that is set by the university or any system that you tell. If you wanted to make these learners employable after your course period, maybe 1 year or 3 years, and we know that the syllabus will be revised only after 3 years or 5 years, right? Previously it was 5 years, right now the period is less. But in the meantime, you know that there are changes happening in the industry. Whatever subject they learn, they have to practice something that is relevant for the industry. So how can you do that? The LinkedIn Learning actually consists of a lot of training material that actually matches the industry demands, and we bring in that content and make it available to the students. So that is another thing. I'm just quoting the LinkedIn Learning. I'm not promoting LinkedIn Learning. This is one component. Previously, we were using another digital library, and recently we switched to LinkedIn Learning. So the question is, any other material other than the usual content, we are bringing in some other material and make it available to the students to supplement what we teach inside the course. And finally, the practice part. So right now, if you take a particular course and if you divide into 3 different categories and name the first category as learn phase and the second category as practice phase, we learn something, then we practice something, and finally if you want to make something or build something, that building actually give you a lot of things. If you start building, you get a lot of questions. Definitely you will be going back and learn a lot of things, practice a lot of things, and then come back and do the building. So if you have a build component in your course, whatever course you teach, if you are an English teacher, you want the students to write poems after you teach something, that writing poem is, I am talking about the build thing. Okay, if you are a mathematics teacher, if you want the students to understand some concept and finally they need to come up with a model for a physical problem, they can create a mathematical model for solving some of the real life problem. That is what I am talking about, the build thing. If you are a computer science teacher, you want the students to create a mobile application or a web application at the end of the course, that is the build thing that I'm talking about. So if they start building something, they need to learn a lot other than what they study in the syllabus. Other than there actually comes the importance of the additional module that I mentioned as the LinkedIn or the self-learning module that we bring in. And you can also see assignments and project actually linked to that particular block, which means if they start doing a project, they get a lot of questions. Some of these questions cannot be answered or cannot be covered in our syllabus. They have to go, sometimes they find out the answers in their own. Otherwise, the instructors will also help them. And finally, if they build something, we can't stop them, because they have gone through the learning phase, they have gone through the practice phase. Finally, they build something. That confidence, that capability will reflect when they go and sit in front of an interviewer. So that is how the learning, the Pearl model, active learning and skilling is designed. I hope that all the different components, I made it clear. If you have any doubt, you can put it in the chat right now. And then I tell you about the other two blocks. And before getting into any particular course, we do have a structured mechanism to give the kind of input. The objectives will be defined clearly. For that, we do an orientation. For university courses, you have the syllabus, or you have the prospectus available, so that the students will get that. So you may not be doing a virtual orientation, anything like that. That will be definitely there. And then on the exit thing, we do have, just like a university system, we have formative as well as summative assessment. And summative assessment, in our case, we actually will be doing with the help of third parties. And then other assessment will be just like the quizzes, the assignments, the projects, case studies, everything will be counted as the formative assessment. And we will be using, so that's the next thing that I will tell to you, and then I pose for questions. The tools, that's very important. I mentioned to you about the model. This is a Pearl model that we are talking about. And if you want to implement this, so physically it was this, when you transformed into a virtual mode, you should have right tools to execute all your plan. And the most important, the backbone of our Pearl model, or the model in which we trainers connected with the learners, is Moodle. Moodle is a learning management system. So we started using Moodle since 2014, and currently we actually trained around 30,000 students and then around 8,000 faculty members. The whole number comes around 50,000. All the 50,000 people have an imprint in our Moodle system. And we keep their record for 1 year and then archive it. And currently, from in the last 7 years, we actually enrolled 50,000 users into our Moodle. So that's the kind of experience and experiment that we done with Moodle. Hope that we could able to channelize some of our experience to you during the session as well. And then coming to the second, the instructor-led learning, that is just like I mentioned to you, that the live interaction should happen between the learners as well as the students. So in our case, typically our batch size is maximum. We have a batch size of 75. So 60 to 75 is our batch size. So in a single batch, we have 2 instructors, so that we can maintain a 1:30 ratio for the student, the faculty student, so that all activity can be divided between these 2. And we every time, so right now you see me talking. I have my colleague Ashwari is also logged in, and if anything happens from my side, internet connectivity issues, any issue that happens, power failure, I have a backup for all this. But think that some technical issue happened from my side, another person will come and take. So it never, so the learners will have a seamless learning happen. And we do have 2 people connected for all training program, whether it is 20 people trained in a live session or 75 people trained in a live session, 2 people will be there. For that, we actually generally use Gmeet, G Suite that is using, and then Zoom is also another platform that we are using for both the second and third component. Then coming to the peer interaction, from my experience, and I hope that all my colleagues will agree with that, the great learning happens in the LARC platform. That actually the live thing, in a week, we actually connect 2 or 4 hours in a live mode. But this 24/7 and for a particular course, that group is very active. We conduct a lot of activities, LARC activity we call, maybe a Friday challenge or a Sunday challenge we throw, ask them to, may not be mandatory thing. The interested students can come and solve it. And we do have a mechanism to reward those who come and take up these challenges and solve these challenges. So LARC is, if you want to note it down, LARC is an interesting tool that you can try it for. If you want to replace WhatsApp or Telegram, or you are using Slack as a channel, then LARC is an alternative. And for the learning digital library, we are providing LinkedIn. Actually, this is a licensed one. I'm just mentioning because in our model, this is something that we have. You can have an alternative to this. I'm not telling that everyone should go and take something like this. This is an option that I am mentioning. And finally, for the industry immersion virtual internship, we are connected since we are dealing with technology training. Our industry virtual experience or virtual internship is done with TCS Ion, and that is a subsidiary of TCS, and they provide real project experience. In our case, it is a 1 month internship, so that we complete the course in 4 months time. All courses have 100 hours of project, and then after that, this particular internship will happen. So it's going to be a 6-month certification program that we are doing. And for the final assessment, we use some tools like QSys and Nearpod are 2 different platforms. It's very interactive platform. We will have a trial run at the end. Then Socrates is another tool that we are using. And just mentioning about some of the tools that we use for formative and summative assessment. But in the meantime, Moodle has got all the features for assessment. We actually using Moodle features like quiz assignments for all our internal activities, internal assessment activities. So I think it's a better time to pause for some time and listen from you. So if you have questions from you, I'm happy to answer. So any questions at this point? So very happy to. Yeah, Vinay sir, I could see you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. Your presentation of the topic was really great. Thank you so much.
I think I'm taking a break. So I wanted to.
Yeah, ma'am. So now let's take some time for the questions and queries if there is any. So participants can post their questions in the chat box if there is any.
So if you have any query, then I'm happy to address those queries, because I do a demonstration at the end, because I know that I have time till 11 o'clock. So what, right? 9 to 11, I think the time, I have time till 11. So I have the last segment. All right. Alternate library, Anshu ma'am, we actually used something like previously we were using another platform, a UK based platform. That's also a paid platform, but they stopped their operations in India recently. So that's the reason why it's difficult to enroll students and give licenses. So there are that's other platform that use. And if you, since you are connected to AICT, AICT has got rich platforms. NPTEL is actually another platform. So you can also, it's for connecting some of the courses. So think that, if I give an example, and if you teach a particular course, and in which you know that, so I am great, Dr. Manoj, if you teach a particular course on website development, maybe a familiar term for all of you, website development. And in website development, we have different technologies. If you know HTML, CSS, then JavaScript, you can create website. When we look at the recent trends in website development, and there are technologies like React, Angular. So these are the recent trends. So if you create a website or web application with the help of the recently popular or the industry, most of the industries are using these technologies I mentioned. Then if you are trained and if you have expertise in this, once you complete your course, you have an easy access or easy entry to such jobs. But when we look at our normal curriculum, normally our curriculums are not designed with the latest technologies. There should be a acceptable gap between the industry as well as the academia. But even though our syllabuses are not designed to cover the latest thing, we do have an option. We can teach them the basics like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript I mentioned, but nobody will question you if you map something like an Angular course as an add-on course into your it can be, you can take a good YouTube video if you identified a good YouTube video by somebody, and you can map it into your course and ask the students to go through this. If you have the basics studied in your course, you can enrich it with this. That's another library. Even YouTube, you can take good YouTube video. The only thing is that the teachers have to go through and understand that that is a good addition to the existing curriculum. So that thing, Anju ma'am, that we should make clear before mapping something to this. Swayam actually is a NPTEL Swayam, and if you identify some good courses in this platform, you can map this as well. Other tools other than Socrates. Socrates actually it's a quiz platform, right? It's we use Socrates for conducting quizzes. We use Moodle quiz for conducting quiz. Then quizzes is a very interactive one. Maybe I take the last 5 minutes to do a quick demo of quizzes. That's one thing, and that we heavily use in all our training programs. So QUIZIZZ. Quizzes is one platform that we are using. Then Swayam. All right. So these are the things. So any other questions at this? So otherwise, I will do some demonstrations of the tools. That
I'm sorry. Yes, I have a question. Like I have actually two questions. First of all, about Lark.
Yeah.
I know Lark. I have used Lark for some time and then I stopped using it for the simple reason, being the parent company. The parent company of this particular, this particular product is ByteDance. So is our data safe? When we say, because we are putting everything on their cloud. So is it safe? Because I haven't read their white paper and anything, so I'm not sure that how they store or use our data.
Yeah, that's because those who are not familiar with the company that sir mentioned, it's actually a Chinese company. Lark is a Chinese company. Actually, they were supporting that. We come to know about Lark when they, in the pandemic situation, they supported Singapore government. Singapore government used this particular tool for their governance during the early stages of the pandemic. Actually, we don't share any private data with this, because any communication, any collaboration, anything that happens through the channel. So I hope that you could able to see this one of the group that I'm showing to you. This is a particular channel. So what activity that happened inside is purely academic. We don't give any licensed thing or access to anything or any credentials, anything, nothing is shared through this. Only discussions or information that is shared through this platform. So that's so we don't mind about the data security, because we enroll students with minimum personal details. So that they are connected, and soon after the training, actually we will disconnect all the students so that they won't be using Lark for long.
And so that I did some more research, and I found another software which was another open source software, which was Nextcloud. Nextcloud you can deploy on your server, and that will create the same kind of. I haven't used Nextcloud yet, but this is what I have read about it. And another thing is, what is the alternate of Moodle? Like apart from Moodle, is there any other LMS you suggest that which could be as feature enriched and good?
Okay, from our experience, we actually are happy with Moodle. We could say that we haven't explored all the features of Moodle, but alternative means actually we know that there are Canvas. We tried a few features of Canvas, but found that Moodle has got a better community than Canvas, so that if you need any support, we are actually connected to the Moodle headquarters team through their Telegram channel. So any quick query, if you want to talk to the Moodle headquarters, you can get it done in very fast time. And regarding the features and the upgradation, the Moodle get updated quite often. Right now, the current version also support a lot of things like interactive video creation, and H5P is something that is a recent addition. It's actually came up very good. We haven't tried anything, even though we used Google Classroom for some of the sessions, but we don't use it for scaling up. When we talk about our numbers are very high when it comes to training. So as a scalable model, actually, we still feel that Moodle is a better option. And the hosting part also, it's very economical. I see some responses coming in the chat, like try Edmondo, Yammer, Yammer I tried, ma'am. I used Yammer. The community of Moodle is bigger. That's one greatest advantage of Moodle. So Moodle, Shivaji sir is asking, Microsoft Teams and Moodle is similar kind. Moodle is actually that's the beauty that Moodle is having. It can be, it is one thing. It is open source, sir. You don't have to pay anything for the usage, but hosting charge you need to pay. Otherwise, Moodle is actually a open source, but Microsoft Teams you have to pay. And it more mostly we will be using for video conferences, but Moodle is we can call it as is multiple dimension. You have features. All the features will be discussed in different sessions, starting from creating courses, adding content, adding interactive content, conducting quizzes, conducting assessments, issuing certificate, taking attendance. All the different platforms or features available in Moodle.
And well, can we use Moodle, like within the Moodle, we have to plug in some kind of video conferencing software, right? Either you can plug in Zoom or
yes, yes. We actually tried. My colleague Srikant, when he takes the next session, he will tell his experience with Jitsi. Jitsi is something that we integrated with Moodle. A big blue button is already there. That's a video conferencing platform. That's a Moodle supported video conferencing platform. And those aspects Srikant will discuss when he introduces Moodle as a platform. They will discuss that. And so whether we have the MOU with Moodle for use. Moodle, you can do a registration. Like once you create a Moodle site, you can register Moodle. Once you register Moodle, your Moodle will be actually listed in the official Moodle website. So that's you don't need to have a MOU. You can work independently. And when you look at Moodle's team, it's actually a very small team. Like they have only 50 members in worldwide. How they operate is they have partners in different countries. In India, they have 2-3 partners for different activities. If you want, so Moodle is all about customization. You download the Moodle base pack free of cost from Moodle website, moodle.org. Then you can customize it. So any feature you need a plagiarism checker, you can add it. You need a certificate issuing plugin, you can add it. So any plugin, so whatever need that comes from your end, you just Google it. Definitely you can find a link in the plugin Moodle site. You can install it. That part we will discuss when we discuss about Moodle. So that's the flexibility that
Moodle. Will you be telling us the configuration as well? How to configure and install Moodle?
So one thing, so let me tell that part. Like this is our. Are you able to see this screen, sir? Anyone please confirm?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so this is retail.I. This is for the Pathshala, we call it as this is our LMS. I mentioned that all our learners are enrolled to. So inside this, what you see here are different categories. We will in the topic in the hands-on session, we will teach you how to create categories and how to add courses. And right now we have different categories like FDP, some other training, internship program, micro skilling training program, online tests. We conduct online tests also, retail training program, institutional training program. So let me take an example of FDP. So this is the FDP page or category. Inside FDP, we have a few FDPs. So this first FDP is created exclusively for you. So we will be today evening, we will be giving credentials for all of you so that you get access to this particular course. So what will happen is once you are enrolled to this particular course, I talked about the implementation of blended learning in ICT Academy or in our courses. Actually, through this training also, we actually give you a feel of blended learning. We know that 6 hours a day may not be possible for all the faculty members registered. I could see 111 people logged in right now. But you may have to skip some of the sessions for sure. And then maybe after the third session, you come for the fourth session, you may not be having a connect. One thing that we do is we will share you the recorded content. Even though you miss, that is, you can learn with your pace or your convenient time, the digital learning experience that we provide. In this course, right now what we have a welcome page created for you. And then if you have any queries after the classroom, we have a discussion forum. You can post queries here. And then this is a walkthrough of what is currently inside this code. And then if you don't have the program brochure with you, you can have an access to the program brochure. The PDF is already shared by the MES team to all of you. But think that if you don't want to go there to open the mail and take it, Moodle provides you a single stop point. You can go to it's for the students as well. If they learn 6 subjects in a semester, they don't want to go to different platforms to get content or information related to that. We have a single place where all the content, all the details of the course will be added. So here you can get the same brochure is added here. And then coming back, a discussion forum I mentioned, all the activities, anything that we added here, by the end of the course, we will be equipping you to do this. So you will be creating a course similar to this. And then you will be adding some welcome message so that any learner who logged into your course could able to read this. Then any announcement that goes from your end can be done through this announcement feature. So right now I'm calling these as features in Moodle. Then the syllabus, in a particular course you have a syllabus, but in our context it's a program brochure is added. Then coming to the course, we know that we cannot able to demonstrate. I have another 7 minutes left, so I use quizzes demonstration in the live session. And I mentioned to you about 2 other platforms like Mentimeter. I conducted a quiz using Mentimeter. So if you want to do a quiz similar to this in your live classroom session, I told you about distractions, positive distraction. So at some point of time, you want to distract your students by giving a question, okay, and get the response and read the responses and show the responses to the students and conduct a discussion related to that. You can enroll to this Mentimeter site and you can create a question like this and share and get responses. How you can do that? Everything is recorded and we have a recorded content available, and this is given to you so that you can go back and listen to that. So this is something that we are right now. You are inside the instructor learning phase of this training, and there is actually an recorded thing, a recorded content. Some tools or some information we will be providing you as recorded content, and so that
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Once we have that login credentials, how long we will be able to access that website? Is it only for 5 days or is it?
No, we give it access to 1 month. So we give you 1 month access to all of you.
Okay.
And then daily we have some exercises, hands-on exercises. So this is another interesting thing that we are trying to give. Hope, sir, you can able to identify this. This is not a Google sheet. This is a lark sheet. Okay.
Right.
We created exercises. So think that we are demonstrating to you something. Like in the last session, what Srikanth will be doing is he will be asking you to create an account in Moodle cloud platform, and he will be also demonstrating. So think that you couldn't do that in the same pace that Srikanth is. We know that 100 people attending this course have different background, and some of you are IT already having some experience in tools, technology. Some of you are very new to things. The pace in which you do things will be different. And so in order to cater the needs of everyone, we want all of you to complete all the exercises that we do. Even though you can't do it in the live session, and we have a step-by-step approach. How can you do the exercises? So if you miss some of the thing that we mentioned in the live session, you can follow these exercises. So another thing that we share every day, we will be sharing you some exercises. So for you to practice, so that when you come next day, you will be thorough with what we discussed in the previous day, so that your journey or progress through the FDP will be very smooth. That's one thing that we will ensure. Okay, so what you see here is the Moodle course, and we will be enriching content. So we will be sharing you the credentials in the evening session from 2 to 4. We will be giving you the username and password for all of you, so that you get content. All the content will be opening on respective days. Today we will only open day 1 content. Only after day 1 you get the day 2 content. So finally, everything. So like if you wanted to take a feedback, and that provision will also be. So when you look at the course curriculum, so maybe this is something that I want to tell you as the last thing inside this. So, when you look at the program structure, the program is designed in such a way that in the first 2 sessions, so right, the one session that I did and the next session my colleague Dr. Srikanth will be doing, will be setting the context. Like you may be, if you are starting with Moodle is the best thing that you all of you go download Moodle and start using. It doesn't make sense. So first of all, we need to convince you, just like Sir asked, he asked the question, why we need to use Lark. There are some problems with Lark. So all such questions should come up, and we get different dimensions or different perspective from different faculty members here. So once you find that this is a suitable tool for you, and a tool that is suitable for a computer science teacher may not be a suitable one for a physics teacher. So if you talk about alternatives, then that particular physics teacher can go and explore. And if he or she knows how to explore and identify a particular tool, and he will be finding a better tool that the one that we discuss inside the session. So likewise, our intention is like this. We started off with the general thing about digital learning, the space, and what are the different framework or technique that we should able to follow in a digital learning process. And then it should be followed up with something like a successful model. This is another model, Agile ADDIE model. You hope that most of you heard about the ADDIE framework. Srikanth will be talking about Agile ADDIE model that actually we designed for rapid instructional design. Then our Dr. Murugan sir is coming and connecting you to Moodle. We start Moodle by exploring the features one by one. Then all the sessions, what we discuss is we are exploring the different features of Moodle. The kind of methodology that we adopt is today in evening itself, we will be setting an environment for you to practice. You can call it as a playground. So we give you a playground where you practice all the things that you, just like you learn driving. What we do is we generally don't use the real car. If you have a brand new car, we never use that for learning driving. We use a pretty old car, then use it for a temporary basis, and after learning driving, we switch to the actual or your best car. So similarly, we introduce you that playground where you will be enrolled for 45 days. And so whatever things that you do, you can learn there, and then you can download, customize, and start using Moodle for yourself or for your department or for your entire college. So that level of expertise we should be bringing through this training.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. So the last 1 minute, maybe this is the last thing that. So let me share. This is a very interesting thing because I don't want to skip this. So sorry for shooting 2-3 minutes extra. Time is 1. So let me play this. Only 5 questions. Questions are not important, but the tool is important. Anybody use this platform before? Please put it in the chat. Yes, that I use this platform, QSys. Anyone use this platform before? It's for interactive quizzes, because right now everyone talking about gamification in learning. I hope that some of you may be doing research in that area. It's a very emerging area, as Ashish sir said he used. So let me share this. Okay, so can you please connect to this platform? A 3-minute activity. Just 5 questions. You just click and go to the next question. So just giving you an experience of using this. Are you able to connect? Just click on the link and give your name, connect it. All right, you can see the screen is shared. 6 of you, 7 of you join, and you can see that all of you are connected to this. This is a sample survey I just added just to introduce this tool, nothing more than that. So if I get a sample very close to 50, I will start. If you want to, there are two ways in which you participate. Either you can connect to this platform and get a real experience as a recipient. Otherwise, you simply watch and see the screen sharing if you have difficulty in connecting to this platform, no issues. Just an introduction to this quiz platform. All right, so let me start. If you're joining anytime, you can join, no issues. Some questions will come and all of you can watch this. All right, so this is the first question. So these are the participants. I am attending this session through a mobile phone. The question is asking you whether you are using a PC, tablet, mobile, or laptop. So it's a time is set for 30 seconds. It's customizable. You can change it to any number depending upon the nature of the question. You can plus it, minus it. All right, time is up. Okay, so the beautiful thing is it is coming to, so it shows this is a statistics that right now I am getting. So let me, 7 of you are actually, 12 of you are using mobile phone. So we know that. So what insight I get from this is, if we start the hands-on session, the 12 people who are actually having mobile phone or connected through mobile phone find it difficult to do along with us, because maybe something that needed a computer, you may not be able to experiment. So that insight that you get. So let me quickly go to the next question. This is a survey question. Otherwise, it's the gamification will add. If you answer a question correctly, you get points. Okay. I have completed how many dash hours of instructor-led virtual training sessions till date. I know that all the faculty members have done taken sessions, and let's see. Wow, 100 to 300 is more. So this is a live dashboard. Okay. Maybe if you are asking students something and if you get responses like this, very good insight that you get. And what the teacher can do after this, you can give some more information connecting to this. All right, 300 plus hours of live session. Hats of you teachers, and most of you more than 50 hours. Good job. All right, last two questions. I have recorded these many number of hours of video content till date. Okay, some newbies are there, no issues. If you want, we can bring in, give you some technique or tools and tips for recording content. Okay, definitely teachers, those who are new, we will map some content, video material. We use a tool called the Screencast-O-Matic. If you want to try that. All right, 100 plus 7, 50 to 100. So great information. All right, nice. So let's move to maybe the last question. Okay, the tool, second last question, the tool I commonly use for assessment. So this is an information. So have a look at this, all others who are not connected. So Moodle is something, Google Forms, TechMint, Microsoft Teams. Okay, all right. We have a lot of Moodle experts here. We can also learn something from you teachers, for sure. Gform, let me look for some unique ones. All right, so you can see how many responded like this. You can, those statistics also you get at that. So coming to the last question. Since it is a survey, I am telling that there is no points calculator. Otherwise, after each question, you can see who is the leader. And that actually brings a lot of enthusiasm to the learners. Students will actually, oh, if I score that question faster than the other person, I get more points. Okay, so I'm just adding this as to give you an impression that this can also be used for giving descriptive type of you can ask descriptive type of questions. I know that you cannot write a lot of things in that given time. Okay, still you are doing good job. Interactive lessons, interaction with the students, animations, good by getting involved in along with the. All right. So thank you so much. We got around 25 responses. So let me close the queues. So this is how you can use this platform. It's very, the user experience is better. If you see this color combination, actually that gives some, and by the end of the course, actually we have a habit of asking feedback to all the students. One good thing that the students say is about this particular tool. One, we have a question like, what one thing that you like most in our training? They say that this quiz. In our experience, we start all our sessions with this quiz. And through the quiz, we actually do a summing up of all the activities we completed in the previous session. So with this, I think I am stopping this. I know that I overshoot at 5 minutes. So sorry for that. And if you have any questions, you can post it here. And I'll be here for another 5 minutes. And we know that the next sessions will be starting at 11:50. So if you have any questions, feel to ask questions. Otherwise, you can take a break and join back at 11:50.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Again, sir.
Yeah, yes, Murugan.
Sir, we can start the second session by 11:30, sir. I will give
11:30.
to 15 minutes break. We'll keep. So we can continue for 2-3 minutes and stop. Okay,
Okay,
sir.
then I'm free. I'm happy to get some questions from your end.
Okay.
And if you want to share something, so if you feel to mention anything that will be beneficial for others, this is a good forum. So like a forum which consists of people from different parts. Sometimes some tools are very popular in some part of the country. So you can also share the sirs, you from Jammu and Kashmir. We only heard, I've never been to Jammu and Kashmir. So some experiences in teaching in your institutions, if you share through the chat.
Well, I would like to share a tool which could be really very beneficial for the whole community, and that is a video conferencing tool which I personally like very much. That is free conference call. Because like if you talk about Zoom is a paid one, and if you talk about Google, Google Meet or Jitsi and all, it does not have a lot of features. Mostly what happens that participants unmute themselves and they disturb the class and they share their screen without any permission. There is a tool by the name of free conference call. You can explore, like I may not be able to give you the full presentation here, but you can explore that. It's a very good tool. I'm typing the name.
Can we ask a few related questions, like how many people can be connected simultaneously?
1,000 participants free of charge. And there is no time limit in that.
Okay.
And you have
recording is available?
Yes, recording is available. Hand raising is there. Interactive whiteboard is also there. Interactive whiteboard with permission. So if allow, then the student will be able to write something on the whiteboard. Otherwise, they will not be able to do that. Different modes are there. Lecture mode is there. The question answer mode is there. So many things are already inbuilt in there. But I'm not sure whether you can integrate it within Moodle or not. I'm not sure because I haven't.
Okay, we will check it that, sir. Definitely, we will tell you that option, the integration option. Otherwise, actually, it's a very good information. So, where are you from, sir, Sandeep, sir?
I'm Delhi. I'm from Delhi.
Delhi. Okay. Yes. So you get some good. So thank you so much, sir, for that input.
I can share one more very good software like Lark, which you are using.
Yeah.
Which is again a third party, and again the data is the concern. Nextcloud is another open source software which you can deploy on your premises, and you will have. I haven't used Nextcloud yet, but the feature says that it is open source and as good as the Moodle or the Lark which you use. So we can see like the integrations are also possible in that open source technology.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. In Lark, you can have video conferencing as well. So in Lark group, you can accommodate 5,000 users.
I love Lark, but for the single reason I stopped using, I have told you already. I do not want.
It's up to the users; they can explore. So that's a good habit. Like you don't simply jump into one tool, just hear it from some places. Go to it, understand the features. Even the data security feature is something that we should definitely look at.
So that will be on your premises. That Nextcloud will be on your premises. As you do Moodle, as you do Moodle hosting, you do that Nextcloud.
Okay. So then any others? So thank you so much, Sandeep sir.
Well, I have so many because I do research on open source technology. So I have so many tools for so many different things. Maybe we can connect on LinkedIn or.
Sir, one thing, if you have a sheet, if you can include it in a single sheet with references to the link, we can add it in our LMS. You share it with all the participants.
Well, I do not have right now.
Not now, before the end of the session.
Yes,
I know.
I'll try.
5 days. We gave you 5 days.
No problem. I'll love to do that.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So anyone else, I wanted to share something or ask something, feel free to do that.
Excuse me, Sandeep sir. So we are having a WhatsApp group. You can upload that sheet in that WhatsApp group itself, sir.
Sure, I will do that.
If you don't mind. Okay, thank you, sir.
No, it's my pleasure.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Please, Miss.
Okay, so I think the questions and queries are over. So let's move on to the vote of thanks. And let me now invite Ms. Shavina Wibi, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Applications, to propose a vote of thanks. Please, ma'am.
Respected resource person and dear participants, we have come to the end of the first session of the ATAL-FDP program on effective course delivery through Moodle. We had a very informative talk on digital learning, different types of digital learning, various tips and tools, and assessments for digital learning. The resource person emphasized on the challenges in digital learning that we often face, such as distraction of students and the possible solutions such as positive distraction. And there was discussions on positive engagement and real-time learning. Also, effective interactions took place with the participants on learning management system, particularly Moodle. On behalf of Department of Computer Applications, MES College Marambali, and the participants present online, I extend really heartfelt vote of thanks to Mr. RIJI and Das, who spared his time from his busy schedule to share information with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone, for your patient listening and also for the interaction. So see you in the next session. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you so much, Mr. Rizin and Das, for the great session. So we are winding up our first session right now and taking a short break. The second session will start at 11:30 a.m. So stick to time.